Hi, Keith here from Academy of Bass. Today I'm going to be looking at how you can really start getting your playing together over common chord progressions. So I hope you're in the mood for a little bit of work because this is going to be a great harmony buster too. I'm going to look at a chord progression that comes from the major scale. So it's a diatonic chord progression and it's a 1-6-2-5. It's used so much in music, you hear it in a lot of jazz standards, and it wasn't until that long ago that you could hardly hear a pop song that didn't use it. So the 1-6-2-5 and also the 1-6-4-5, which is probably used a little bit more in the pop music of today, are really common chord progressions. Now, because it's diatonic, it's a great starting point to help you understand where harmony actually comes from. But I'm going to use it as a way to really help you get your root movement playing together so that you can track the chords and use the notes in the chords to play some great bass lines. And I'm also going to look at superimposing a scale on top of this too. So I'm working in the key of C major today. And chord 1 is built on the first degree of the scale, so it's a C and it's a major chord. Chord 6, C, D, E, F, G, A is an A chord, but it's a minor, so we've got C major to A minor. Chord 2 is built on the second degree of the scale, which is C to D, and that's also a minor chord. And lastly, chord 5 is built on the fifth degree of the scale, C, D, E, F, G, so it's a G chord, and that's a major. So we've got C major to A minor, to D minor, to G major, and this is what it sounds like. All I'm doing here is following the root movement. So I'm just playing the root note of each chord. Chords are king, and if you know the chords that you're playing over, that can only help you engage more with what you're playing. If you play purely by patterns and shapes and you don't really understand what you're playing in a harmonic sense, it can be really difficult to then take that musical information and use it elsewhere in a different playing situation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ramp up our understanding of this chord progression just a little bit, and I'm going to play through it again, but this time I'm going to be naming the notes as I play them. So grab your bass and play along. C to A, to D, to G, and again C to A, to D, to G. I'm going to play octaves here. C to A, to D, to G, C, A, D, G. Now I'm going to take a closer look at the chords starting with C. So we've got C, E, G, or root, third and fifth. Now we can extend that by adding the major 7, root, third, fifth, major 7, which is B, and that turns the chord into a major 7 chord, C major 7. I'm not going to be playing that just now. I'm going to stick with the major triad, root, third and fifth. A minor, root, flat and third and fifth, or A, C and E. Now we can also add this G, which is a flat and seventh, so we get root, flat and third, fifth and flat and seventh, and turns the minor chord into a minor 7. Similarly, D minor or D minor 7, we get D, F, A and C, and then finally G major, G, B, D, or root, third and fifth. Now if we add a 7 to this, it's a flattened 7, so we get root, third, fifth, flattened 7th, G, B, D, F. That makes this chord a G7 or a G dominant 7. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have another play through the chord progression, but this time I'm going to be focusing on just playing the arpeggio patterns. So if you are playing along, just be warned that I'm going to be playing these ascending and descending, so get ready. And whilst I am playing, I'm also going to be naming the chords as I play through. C major, I'm taking each arpeggio to the octave here, A minor to D minor, and G major, C major again, and A minor, and D minor, and G major. This time we're playing them in reverse. Now, we're just playing the patterns here, but we're really starting to get some musical orientation together, and we're also really starting to internalize the chord progression. A minor to D minor to G major. So we know we're playing over a 1-6-2-5 chord progression. We know that the chords are C major or C major 7, A minor or A minor 7, D minor or D minor 7, and G major or G7, G dominant 7. We've got the root movement down, and we've played through using the arpeggios. By the way, if you haven't already grabbed the PDF for this lesson, that link's posted below. Make sure you grab it. It's got everything in it, all the notation and tab, and there's also a link to a couple of backing tracks at different tempos that you can use too. The next thing to look at is to really focus on the notes in the chords. So we've got C major, C, E, G, A minor, A, C and E, D minor, D, F and A, and G major, G, B and D. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play through the progression again at a slightly slower tempo, but this time we're going to say the notes as we play them. Now, if you're playing along, just another warning that we're going to be playing these ascending and descending too. C, E, G, C, A, C, E, A, D, F, A, D, G, B, D, G, C, E, G, C, A, C, E, A, D, F, A, D, G, B, D, G in reverse. C, G, E, C, A, E, C, A, D, A, F, D, G, D, B, G, C, G, E, C, A, E, C, A, D, A, F, D, G, D, B, G. So we've got that now, and our level of understanding is really starting to build, but let's push forward even more and play through again, but this time name the intervals as we play them. Root, third, fifth, octave, root, flat and third, fifth, octave, root, flat and third, fifth, octave, root, third, fifth, octave, root, third, fifth, octave, root, flat and third, fifth, octave, root, flat and third, fifth, octave, root, third, fifth, descending, octave, fifth, third, root, octave, fifth, flat and third, root, octave, fifth, flat and third, root, octave, fifth, third, root, octave, fifth, third, root, octave, fifth, flat and third, root, octave, fifth, flat and third, root, octave, fifth, third, root. C to G the fifth, A to E the fifth, D to A the fifth, G to D the fifth, C to G, A to E, D to A, G to D, and up an octave, C down to G, A down to E, D down to A, G down to D, C, G, A, E, D, A, G, D. Roots and thirds. C to E the third, A to C the flat and third, D to F the flat and third, G to B the third, C, E, A, C, D, F, G, B. Up an octave, C to E the third, A to C the flat and third, D to F the flat and third, G to B the third, C, E, A, C, D, F, G, B. To finish off, I'm going to look at one more thing really quickly, and what I'm going to do is superimpose the scale on top of the chords. So over the two major chords, C major and G major, I'm going to superimpose a major pentatonic scale, and over the two minor chords, A minor and D minor, I'm going to superimpose a minor pentatonic scale. So the major pentatonic scale over C, we've got C, D, E, G, A, and I'm going to take that to C, the octave, and similarly G major, G, A, B, D, E, and of course G, and then the A minor pentatonic scale, A, C, D, E, G, and of course A, the octave, and the D minor pentatonic scale, D, F, G, A, C, and D. And I'm going to have a final playthrough now, and I'm going to be playing these scales ascending and descending. C major pentatonic, A minor, D minor, G major, C major, A minor, D minor, and G major, in reverse. This is one of many ways that you can approach playing over chord progressions, but I really like it because it's sequential and it's systematic, and you can dip into it and use it in any way that you want. So we've got a 1-6-2-5 chord progression, and the whole point of this lesson is to be aware of what you're playing. So we know where the chords come from, we know the arpeggio pattern for each of the chords, we know the names of the notes in each chord, and we also know their interval relationship. By the way, don't forget to let me know in the comments below what you think of this lesson, and make sure you grab the PDF from the link below too. Feel free to give things the thumbs up and support the channel by subscribing. Thanks for joining me, look forward to seeing you again, and in the meantime, happy practicing.